What's good, folks? So, we have a special box here opening up for you. We have the 1990 NFL Pro Set. I've never opened up one of these before. So, we're going to look for some special cards here. Obviously, we have Barry Sanders, we have your Joe Montanas, we have your Bo Jackson. But I've decided to take on a specific challenge. I am going to look for the coveted and ever elusive Vince Lombardi Trophy Hologram. Watching videos in the past, looks like it's going for quite a bit. From my understanding, it's very hard to get. So, every once in a while, I'm going to pick up a box or two off of the local interweb and just open it up to look just for that particular hologram. Everything else is pretty cool, but I'm just going to make it a personal mission. So, I presume we're going to have quite a few videos looking for here. Like I said, I have this box. I have another one coming along the way for a future video. And maybe one day in the near future, I'll pick one up. So, without further ado, we're going to open this bad boy up. And wouldn't it be cool if I got it on my first try? That would be just absolutely awesome. So, let's get right into it. So, if you like what you see, you can always like, subscribe, share, help out the channel, help us grow. Or help me grow. I'm not more than one person, even though some people would argue otherwise. I forget how many packs are in here. I'm presuming it's the traditional 36 packs, even though it feels like a whole lot more. This was in the days of in the 90s where the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys were ruling the NFL, and before we had the nice folks like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrows and Lamar Jacksons, making $50 to $60 million a year. Goodness gracious, that's an insane amount. But you know what? More power to them. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. I think we also have an elusive Santa Claus card that we can look for, so that'd be pretty cool. Well, to start things off, we have a Super Bowl 20 card. That's pretty cool. We have Keith Van Horn, we have Tim Lachey, Fred Strickland, Felix Wright, Don Shula, Marv Levy, Pat Swilling, Ickey Woods, the 1990 Pro Bowl. That was Anthony Miller, Kent Hall, Franco Harris, Albert Bentley, Simon Fletcher, Steve Atwater, and Vi Sikahima. I think there's also I was thinking maybe the Junior Seau, but I think he's in Series 2. This is just Series 1. I'll probably get a Series 2 for a future video just for the fun of it. Holding cards upside down. We have a Super Bowl 7. Then we have Neil Anderson, Neil Smith, Neil Armstrong, Greg Bell, Pierce Holt, Sammy Smith. I'll hold this up a little closer. David Wyman, Lindy Infante, Louis Billups, Mike Quick, John Elliott, Joe Montana. We'll put that right here. Merrill Hogue, Michael Irvin with the Cowboys, and Eddie Brown. We'll put that out to the side so I don't ruin the card with my big giant hands. Alright, what do we have here? We have Super Bowl number 6. Richard Dent, Chris Dolman, Jackie Slater, Alvin Walton, Vincent Brown, Joe Nash, Sterling Sharp, good brother of Shannon, Carl Zander, Jerome Brown, Darryl Talley, Thurman Thomas, awesome running back for the Buffalo Bills. And then we have the 1990 Pro Bowl with David Fulcher. Then we have a Billy Joe Tolliver, Bert Grossman, and Jim Jensen. So this is back when I watched football relatively sparingly, nowhere near to the amount of football I watch now. Back in these days, I was a young, thriving teenager with plenty of energy, so I spent a lot of my time playing basketball. Alright, Super Bowl 28. We have Jim Covert, Joey Browner, John Robinson, David Grayson, Hartley Dykes, Brian Millard, Ron Hallstrom, Tim McGee, Keith Jackson, Mark Kelso, Andre Ware. Then we have a Pro Bowl with Dennis Smith, Dan Marino, Laces Out, and Harry Galbraith. Laces Out with the Isotoner gloves. So yeah, I played a lot of basketball. I wasn't a fan of football, simply because when I was younger, football always ran into my favorite shows at the time in the early to mid 80s. So I developed a hate-hate relationship with football. But then as I got older, I started enjoying football for what it is. And now I watch it nonstop. Super Bowl 10, Thane Gash, Anthony Carter, Jim Everett, don't call him Chris, Harris Barton, Mark Clayton, Norm Johnson, Mark Murphy, Jason Buck, Buddy Ryan, Jim Richter, Walter Stanley, says he signed with someone else, Christian Okoye, Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys, and Louis Oliver. Jimmy Johnson, I think he's kept the same hairstyle for the past 35 years. Well, I guess 33. It's only been 33 since 1990. 1990. One of my biggest memories was going to the movie theater and seeing Dick Tracy in the movie theater. Alright, Super Bowl 4. Eric Metcalf, Keith Millard, Henry Ellard, Bernie Kosar, Andre Waters, John L. Williams, Don Majkowski, Sam White, Max Montoya, They Killed My Father, Leonard Smith, Jack Lambert, Ronnie Lott with the 49ers, Marianne Butts, and Eric Sievers. Alright. But yeah, 1990 was a good year. Saw a lot of movies that year. I can only remember Dick Tracy at the moment. Super Bowl number 1. Then we have Tyrone Braxton, Wade Wilson, Johnny, what was that? Rembert, Lomas Brown, John Elway, the man, Eugene Robinson, Tim Harris, Ricky Dixon, Reggie White, Jim Kelly, Joe Montana again. We are living it up with the Joe Montanas. The 1989 Player of the Year. Bill Parcells with the Giants. And lastly, Fred Marion, the librarian. If I stumble and I busted my whatchamacallit, my body would go unnoticed. Sorry. Kind of summoned a little bit of the Music Man right there. Awesome show. Super Bowl 24. Bud Carson, Al Noga, Bruce Matthews, Rod Rust, Mark Carrier, Jeff Bryant, Ed West, Eric Thomas, Mike Johnson, Scott Norwood, Tom Landry, Dalton Hilliard, Lawrence Taylor, and Randall Cunningham. From my understanding, one of the main reasons Jerry Jones was able to win the bid for the Dallas Cowboys was that he promised to fire Tom Landry. You can tell me whether or not that is true in the comments below. Alright, Super Bowl 24. Then we have Paul Farron, Henry Thomas, Howie Long, Guy McIntyre, Kevin Murphy, Leslie O'Neal, Brett Fullwood, Sean Collins, Ray Donaldson, Cornelius Bennett, Anthony Thompson, Ken Norton, Gary Plummer, and Rich Camarillo. Murphy. I'll buy that for $1. I still want to know what that show was all about on RoboCop. That show made no sense. Alright, Super Bowl number 9. Michael Kofer, Daryl Grant, Albert Lewis, Vince Newsom, Jim Arnold, Bo Jackson, Bo Nose, Kyle Clifton, Harry Hamilton, Tim Worley. Then we have David Treadwell, Lindy Infante, Dwayne Bickett, Pepper Johnson, and Ron Wolfley. Pepper Johnson. Wonder if that's a nickname or his real name, and if it's his nickname, how did he get it? Super Bowl, what was that 27? I mean, that's 17. I apologize. My Roman numerals suck. Richard Johnson, Joe Gibbs, Reggie Roby, Randall McDaniel, Stefan Page, Steve Wisniewski, JoJo Townsell, Charles Haley, Carnell Lake, Webster Slaughter, Buck Buchanan, John Hand, Carl Banks, and another Joe Montana. We have 3 Joe Montanas from this particular set. I'm not complaining. Now we have Super Bowl 8. Then we have Wayne Fontes, Kevin Butler, Greg Cragen, Carl Lee, Ricky Sanders, Mike Ditka, Jim Wilkes, Michael Walter, Chuck Knoll. Then we have Rodney Holman, Bob St. Clair, Mike Pryor, Mohammed El-Wanibi, Jacob Green. Hopefully I said that correctly. I have no idea. Super Bowl 11. Jerry Ball, Brian Sokia, Frank Minifield, Jesse Sapolo, Ernest Biner, Mike Dial, John Forcade, Steve DeBerg, Greg Lloyd, Dave Krieg, Christian Okoye, Donnell Thompson, Derek Thomas, and Wilbur Marshall. He's amazing. He's stupendous. Alright, we have the AFL versus NFL Super Bowl number 2. Jay Hilgenberg, Gerald Riggs. Then we have Brian Blades, George Seifert with the 49ers. Eric Martin. Irv Eatman. Vaughn Johnson. John Alt. Bobby Brister. Boomer. Bob Grease with the Dolphins. Fred Young. Sam Mills. And Barry Sanders. Alright. That's with it. I guess that's his Rookie of the Year card. I'm going to try and create a new setup to where I can put some stands instead of doing it top down, kind of do like everybody else, so I can put some of the better cards on stands. Alright, Super Bowl 7. Then we have John Roper, Gary Clark, Kevin Green, Mike Kofer, William White, Art Shell, Roy Foster, Tom Rathman, Louis Lips, John Offerdahl, Keith Millard, Andre Rison. Oh, he was with the Colts before he went to the Falcons. I didn't know that. Brad Edelman, and then Chris Miller with the Falcons. Learned something new. So that was before his time with a certain Left Eye. I ran into her once at a amusement park. Super Bowl 14. Steve Mongo McMichael, Jim Lachey, Jerry Gray, Michael Carter, John Stevens, Alonzo Highsmith, Ricky Jackson, Bill Maas, Eric Allen, Warren Moon, Mike Kofer, Kelvin Martin, Simon Fletcher, and Dion with the Falcons. Now he's in Colorado as a coach and kicking everybody off. But he has gained plenty of followers. We'll see how he does in Colorado. Super Bowl 20. I think we got that before. Mike Singletary, Neil Smith, Larry Combe, Reggie Langhorne, Andre Tippett, Marv Levy, Frank Warren, Mick Lowry, Keith Byers, Chris Hinton, Rod Woodson, Bill Brooks, Steve Atwater, and Jerry Glanville. And we are hitting the halfway mark of this particular break. Alright, Super Bowl 12. Keith Van Horn, Chris Dolman, Fred Strickland, Felix Wright, Don Shula again, David Wyman, Pat Swilling, Icky Woods, Anthony Miller, Kent Hull, Franco Harris, Merrill Hogue, Michael Irvin, and Vi Sakahima. So we got two Michael Irvins. And we are at the halfway mark. So if you like what you see, you can always hit the like button, subscribe, share, help the channel grow. I think this box was like $20, $25. Nothing too bad. Super Bowl number 3. Then we have Vance Johnson, Mike Merriweather, to Nick Ilkin, interesting name, Eric Williams, Mark Robinson, Steve Brown, Perry Kemp, Bill Fralick, Lee Williams, Scott Radicic, Jim Mora, Joe Bugle, Dan Henning, and Earl Farrell. cards over a little bit. If we can get to 100 subscribers, I promise I'll have a new setup. Alright. Super Bowl 16. Charles Mann. Scott Studwell. We have Aloha Stadium. I actually performed in there in high school. John Taylor. Lars Tate. Ernest Givens. Johnny Holland. Tony Casillas. Shane Conlon. Don Griffin. Chris Dolman. Crawford Kerr. Vincey Glenn. And Bruce Smith. With Buffalo. Yeah, I was in high school in Hawaii for a few years, and my junior year I was in the marching band. Yes, I was a huge nerd, along with playing a lot of basketball, but one of our performances was in the middle of Aloha Stadium, playing for the University of Hawaii. I think the team they went against was maybe Fresno State. I can't fully remember. Alright, Super Bowl 15. Then we have Bob Golick, Ricky Nadiel, Greg Townsend, Farrell Edmonds, Ralph, oh my goodness, Website Jenko, Vinny Testaverde, Tony Zedejas, Jeff Langeman, Gary Zimmerman, Rufus Porter, Ron Holmes, Rich Camarillo, Ron Meyer, Eric Howard, Ken Harvey, and oh, I forgot to put this away. He snuck in there. Thank goodness these football cards didn't come with gum. Alright, Super Bowl number 5. Troy Aikman with the Cowboys. Alright, Mervin Fernandez, Clay Matthews, Jerry Rice, Bruce Hill. That one felt weird. John Grimsley, Ken O'Brien, John Settle. We have Derek Thomas, Stanley Morgan, Sterling Sharp again, Jack Pardee, Raul Allegre, and Ernie Jones. I think that might have been one of the best packs ever. Troy Aikman and Jerry Rice. Alright, Super Bowl 22. Chris Spielman, Steve Smith, Tim Brown, Eric McMillan, Pete Holman, Ervin Randall, Bud Carson, Bruce Coslett, Andre Bruce, Rod Woodson, Sean Farrell, Warren Moon, Jim Jeffcoat, Art Oates, and Tim McDonald. We are only 23 minutes into this break. Hopefully we can get it in under 45 minutes. Alright, Super Bowl 19. Barry Sanders, the man, the myth, the legend. Steve Bureline, Anthony Munoz, Irv Pankey, Marty Schartenheimer, goodness gracious, Drew Hill, Johnny Hector, Marcus Cotton, Mike Munchak, Ozzie Newsome, Felix Wright, Dean Biasucci, Phil Sims, and Tim Rosenbach. I know some of these names are absolutely butchering. Alright, Super Bowl 21. Eddie Murray, Don Mosbar, Kevin Russ, Herschel Walker, Art Monk, Dean Steinkühler, Pat Leahy, Tom Newberry, David Little, Ron Morris, Ted Hendricks, Donald Egwibuke, Gilbert, and Lewis Sharp. I apologize. I was only going to try that one once, and not again. Man, if I pull that Vince Lombardi Trophy here, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. Super Bowl 23. Bernie Blades, Bruce Wilkerson, Andre Reed, Jerry Burns, Mark Rippon, Bubba McDowell, Troy Benson, Paul Gruber, Keith Willis, Dino Hackett, Dalton Hilliard, Clarence Verdon, Leonard Marshall, and Roy Green. Super Bowl 8. Eugene Lockhart, Darrell Green, James Brooks, Steve Jordan, Morton Anderson. Golly, did he play like forever? Ray Childress, Freeman McNeil, Ray Perkins, Gary Anderson. We have Carl Mecklenburg, Percy Snow, Ron Stark, You Know Nothing, David Meggetts, and J.T. Smith. So we have some good cards here so far. We are down to our last stack, but we have pulled some bangers here. We have pulled John Elway. We have pulled Bo Jackson. We have pulled Barry Sanders. We have pulled Jerry Rice, Troy Aikman. We have pulled multiple Barry Sanders and multiple Joe Montanas, as well as Deion Sanders. So, not bad for the first box. Super Bowl 26. Vance Johnson, Greg Townsend, Tunick Ilkin, Eric Williams, Mark Robinson, Ernest Givens, Perry Kemp, Bill Fralick, Lee Williams, Nate Odoms, Jim Mora, Crawford Kerr, Billy Ray Smith, and Errol Farrell. I think we're down to the last 8 packs. Will we pull anything good? Super Bowl 6. Neil Anderson, Joey Browner, Greg Bell, out of focus here, Pierce Holt, Sammy Smith, Joe Nash, Lindy Infante, Louis Billups, Mike Quick, John Elliott, Joe Montana again. That's our 4th Joe Montana of the night. David Folker, Burke Grossman, and Eddie Brown. Guess I'll have to hold the cards a little bit closer. Alright, Super Bowl 28. Richard Dent, Anthony Carter, Jackie Slater, Alvin Walton, Vincent Brown, Brian Millard, Sterling Sharp, Carl Zander, Jerome Brown, Darryl Talley, Thurman Thomas, Dennis Smith, Billy Joe Tolliver, and Jim Jensen. Alright, Super Bowl 10. Jim Covert, Keith Millard, John Robinson, David Grayson, Hartley Dykes, Norm Johnson, Ron Hallstrom, Tim McGee, Keith Jackson, Mark Kelso, Andre Ware, Christian Okoye, Dan Marino, The Man, Hallie Galbraith. So we have a Kelso in the NFL. It just gave me flashbacks of that 70s show and the much lesser 90s show. I don't know. I watched one episode of that 90s show and I just wasn't feeling it. It just didn't do it for me. Alright, Super Bowl 4. Thane Gash, Wade Wilson, Jim Everett. I'm going to start calling him Chris Everett. Harris Barton, Mark Clayton, John L. Williams, Mark Murphy, Jason Buck, Buddy Ryan, Jim Richter, Walter Stanley, Ronnie Lotz, Jimmy Johnson, and Louis Oliver. Oh, Super Bowl number 1 again. Jeff George with the Colts. Did he go to the Falcons? Eric Metcalf, Al Noga, Mike Wilcher, Bernie Kosar, Andre Waters, Eugene Robinson, Don Majkowski, Sam Weich, Max Montoya, Leonard Smith, Jack Lambert, Chris Carter, Marianne Butts, and Eric Sievers. Marion Butts. Hopefully he's related to Seymour. Suddenly Seymour. Now I want to start singing again. Super Bowl 24. Now we have Tyrone Braxton, Henry Thomas with E.T., Johnny Rambert, Lomas Brown, Bobby Humphrey, Jeff Bryant, Tim Harris, Ricky Dixon, Reggie White, Jim Kelly, Joe Montana again. I think that's like our 5th Joe Montana. Dalton Hilliard, Bill Parcells, and Fred Marion. I'll try my best not to say the library. Too late. Alright. 2 more packs to go. 2 more official shots for the elusive Vince Lombardi Hologram card. Super Bowl 24. Bud Carson, Mike Merriweather, Bruce Matthews, Rod Rust, Mark Carrier, Leslie O'Neill, Ed West, Eric Thomas, Mike Johnson, Scott Norwood, Tom Landry, Ken Norton, Lawrence Taylor, and Randall Cunningham. I think we had that exact packed earlier. And now here we are, at our last pack. Magic 8 Ball says, science point to no. But that's okay. This has been a whole lot of fun. As I flip it over. Super Bowl number 3. Paul Farron, Scott Studwell, Howie Long, Guy McIntyre, Kevin Murphy, Steve Brown, Brent Fullwood, Sean Collins, Ray Donaldson, Cornelius Bennett, Anthony Thompson, Joe Bugle, Gary Plummer, and Rich Camarillo. So, for the first box of the 1990 NFL Pro Set Series 1, we did not get the Vincent Lombardi holographic trophy card. which was to be expected, but it would have been a nice surprise. But we did pull some good cards here. We pulled John Elway, one Bo Jackson, one Troy Aikman. I think we pulled multiple Dan Marinos. I could have sworn I called his name earlier. We did get a Jerry Rice. Then we got a Thurman Thomas. I only see one Dan Marino here. That's because I'm half blind. We did get a Troy Aikman. Let's see, how many Joe Montanas did we pull? 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Joe Montanas. So, that was an awesome pull. Some awesome cards got pulled here. What did you guys think? Do you think this is a worthwhile cause to try and find the Vincent Lombardi Trophy? Let me know. Post in the comments below. What did you think of the other cards? Were there any cards I missed that you thought were really cool? I thought the Super Bowl cards were pretty cool. So, I mean, I think I'm liking it. I know I've already opened up Upper Deck football. I have some Top Stadium football, but I'm thinking I'm liking the Pro set. I think my number one is still Upper Deck, but the Pro set is starting to grow on me. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, what did you guys think of this particular break? Like I said, we were going to try and get under 45 minutes. Looks like we did so. We're still under the 40-minute mark. This has been a whole lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, remember, you can always like, share, subscribe, help me grow the channel. And like I said, I'm going to work on putting up a new setup. So a lot of these cards can be put on stands instead of them just laying here on my desk, and try to set up a camera system to where I'm not constantly shaking the table and shaking the camera, get some better lighting. But help me out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll have a whole lot of fun together. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you guys next time.